So how many, I mean like we all of us, most of us should have been in this scenario, right? Yeah? When your client comes in or your boss comes in and he wants to cramp up like next 1,000 features into the product that you have been building. And after all this, you are being blamed that you are not performing as expected, right? We all have been through this. Let me welcome you all into the session of red, green, blues of product/project management. Today, startup founders, UX engineers, software engineers, project managers, and team leaders, you all could relate to this talk because today we'll be talking about the general, applied, and the behavioral aspects of project management. We'll not be talking about the technical terms of project management, but it will be rather a general term. Today, the agenda is to talk about reds, things you should not be doing, greens, things you should be doing, and blues, what are the important ingredients while managing the product or the project. So are you all ready? Yeah? Okay, let's go. My name is Raj Gautam. I'm a co-founder at a company called CloudTie. You might not have heard the name, obviously. It's just like 5 months old. I was a senior project manager with Braindigit, and I also worked with USAID as an application and database specialist. So during my career, for the last 3 or 4 years, I have been building solutions for the last 8, 9 years, but this 4 years' time, I was more into making decisions about the products and the architecture. So I'll try to disseminate what I have learned, and these examples that I have been using are totally fictitious. कसैको वास्तविक जीवनमा मेल खाएमा संयोग मात्र हुनेछ. So let's begin with the most obvious one. When you are starting a project or building a product, make sure that you are asking the right questions to the right person. Make sure you are taking the functional requirements from the right person and the non-functional requirements from the other right person. If you are building a product, make sure your business scope and the technical scope is always cleared and always stick to that. While we are taking the requirements, we come across to different stakeholders, and everybody has something to put in your plate. At that time, it's your decision. You must be wise enough to find out the points that they are saying, if they are really concerned or if they are really providing the things that they want, if it is authoritative or not. Make sure these requirements are properly detailed out, written, and signed off by the clients. This clicker is a bit of a problem, I guess. So you have the whole movie. Spoiler. Let me tell you a story about gold plating. One of my clients came to me and asked, you would like to add a HTML editor to his chat window. My fellow developer went a step forward, and he added an English spell checker. I said, wow, let's keep it. He was also very proud that he added some features. But my client was annoyed because all the end users using the chat were we all Nepalese people who are obsessed to write in Romanized Unicode, right? So whatever they were writing, it would all be colored in red. So my client was angry with me because I built this feature. The golden rule about project management is never gold plate. This gold plating shouldn't be happen from the level of the project manager or from the developer. It's always good to give something extra than what clients actually want, right? But make sure it's properly discussed and your client is on board with the idea that you have. Otherwise, you'll end up with too many bugs and the unsatisfied client. Okay? So let's go to another thing. Okay, don't listen to your customer. But isn't that what pays us? We are being paid to listen to customers, right? No, we are. Oh. So this is kind of adding up my time, okay, organizers, sorry. So, we are not being paid to listen to our customer solutions. One fine day, my boss comes in and says, hey Dev, I'm excited, let's add machine learning to our HR system. I tell him back, okay, sure, why not? I'm excited too. So what do you want? He says he wants all the employees who are absent on Fridays and Mondays. And he thought that using some classification algorithm would give him the solution. All what I did was a simple query into the team attendance table, right? So your job is to listen to customer problems, walk into their shoes. You should have that passion to listen to customer problems. But you are not paid. Your job is not to listen to your customer solutions. Because had I listened to my client's solution, it would prolong my project by next 6 months, right? And would add a couple of millions to the project budget. So being a product manager, project manager, or a team lead, always be passionate about listening to your customer's problem, not the other way. There is another aspect to this as well. Let's say you are building a CRM software, and you are talking with this big shot of the organization, the CEO. He has some exciting plans that you can build or you can add as a feature into your software. But you are not talking to this sales guy. So you build the software, you put it live, it's all on operation. But the salespeople will find out some way not to use your software, right? So it's your duty to establish that balance between the stakeholders. Always you should be listening to your end users. You can derive idea from any one of the stakeholders, but always listen to your end users, because they are the one who use it at last. And they will make your product failure because you haven't listened to them. This was my team from my previous workplace, a team I can really be proud of while I was working on Braindigit. And before we were a great team, we had like 80% junior and mid-level developers. But during the course of 18 to 20 months, we failed, we learned, and we started delivering our features or delivering our works. And at the end, we were successful to deliver a great product to the organization, which is even being sold. So it should be great, right? So when we are building the team, we just look for CVs. We want people who have more experiences. We want people who have like 12 years experience in something. And we also look for the guys who have so many of skill sets. But all those skill sets might not be on of your use. So always look for the people who can add value to your team, who can add some thinking to the product or the project that you have been building. So great CVs don't build great products. That is a theme. It's from my own experience. Are you eating your own dog food? Okay. So eating your dog food means using your own product. This was the same question I asked to my team in the previous slides. We had 4 developers who were working on the mobile platform, and rest of the 12 people were working on the web platform. So one day I asked them, so have you installed the app? And only the 4 people who were working on the mobile had installed the app. So in a team where you are building a single product, but still you are not using your product, so how do you gain confidence to market to the end users? So always start using your own products. This helps you to gather more confidence about your product. It also helps to reduce the performance issues. It also helps to increase the usability of the software, right? If you start using it yourself. And the other thing, it is also the marketing, because all of your team started using the product, so somebody else sees it, and then they start to use it as well. So always use the products that you build from the day one, and always trust on them. What is the point of building something that you wouldn't trust? Or let's say you have built something, and what is the point of not trusting that? So always be open about demos. Go and demo your softwares. Go and demo your products to the clients. Don't feel inferior that a competitor might have something interesting to offer. Always trust on your product. This is a very interesting error message, right? Everybody is understanding everything that is written over there. Look at the button. They both are of the same color, but with different actions and different levels. Something is wrong, right? Being a product manager, you should be honest to yourself. Never ever ship this kind of things to your client. Because you are seeing it wrong. It's your duty to rectify that and then ship it to your client. Because when these errors get numerous, these small errors add up to a cumulative number, right? So after that, they will start feeling that you have passed them with a substandard product or a project. So the other thing is, you should always be honest with the things that you build. Anything that you see wrong is wrong. Fix it, and then only it's supposed to be going to the client. The other thing is saying no and politely. There are various forms of communication that you can use to politely say no. You must have met this client, I lost the animation somewhere, who wants the blue button the first day, red button the second day, and a different shade of red on the third day, right? We all have met this client. And we also have met this boss. You have built an accounting software, but this boss is very keen about using, he's obsessed about using Facebook Messenger. And after your software is done, just 5 days more to release, he comes in and asks you, so let's build something, let's build a messenger-alike communication platform in our software as a feature. You just have 5 days more to go to the release. At this scenario, you should be saying no. Anything that will prolong your release cycle, anything that will add up to millions to your project budget, or any problem that is not worth solving for. These are the things that you should be saying no. And it should be a clear no. You can use a softer form of communication, but that should be a no. It should not be like, okay, we'll look into it, because they will start building their expectation that you might deliver that, right? So it should be a clear no. Yeah, say no to PowerPoints. Okay, so do I have to introduce myself again? Okay, so let's go on. Any features you have been asked for that is not worth solving, or any features that would really deviate from the scope that you initially had, all those features are to be said no. And it should be politely. I don't know how, it should be politely. Have you met this person? So he was in my last talk and he heard me saying that you should say no. He is my fellow project manager, and everything you ask with him, he's going to say no. Anything you would ask, he's like, no, no, no. One fine day, my client comes to my fellow project manager and asks him that the disk space are being cluttered with temporary download files. Can you automate a script to delete it in the midnight? He says no. Because that's not written in the product backlog, right? That was not told to him by his boss. That was not even discussed by his client. So, don't be that project manager. Stop saying no. Start saying yes to the features that would make sense. It's your duty, it's all our duty, whoever we are, building the solutions to listen to our clients. We are being paid for listening to our clients and providing them the solutions. Let's say there is a marketing person who comes to you and asks you, if you could add this feature, I could be able to market this product better. Then it is also your duty to say yes to those particular features. But yes, you should be confident that it makes some sense, but don't go like no, no, and no for each and every change request or feature request that you have been asked for. It's your decision to find out the best solution. But it's your duty to listen to whatever the stakeholders have to say to you. Okay? So let's move on. Let me introduce to you Mr. Edison. Yeah, we all know him. He has about thousands of patents on his name. He is an inventor. But I'm sorry to say you all are not. You all are product managers and project managers who have a time deadline, who have a certain cost, and you are to deliver a software within all these constraints. So, Don't always try to invent. Don't always try to come up with eureka on every features that you have been building. Remember how Instagram and Snapchat have been influenced by each other's feature? You can do it too, but please don't break the rule, and please don't break the laws. That I should write in bold, right? When you are building up a solutions, if you start building everything, or if you start perfecting each and every features, you might run out of time, and you might run out of the cost. So there is no harm on being influenced by some other competitor features if it's good, and if it makes sense on your product. So don't always try to invent. You can copy some features, you can hack some, you can break some features of the competitors, or some other open source software that you get, and then put it in your solutions. By that mean, I again say it again, don't break the rules and the laws. Well, this is the most interesting one. Things you like doesn't mean the rest of the world likes it too, right? You might be obsessed with building features that your customer would like. You might be adding new features every day. Let's say very good features every day in your product. But there is a difference in building features that you think your customers might like and the features that customers would really like. You might be thinking that if I provide this feature, the customer is going to be, bam, wow. But that might not be the reality. So whenever you are defining your product scope, make sure you have a proper market research. Make sure about the values that your product or project would add to the customer, and always remain within that scope. There was one example of that software developer who added a spell checker, right? We liked the idea about the spell checker, but my client didn't like it because I didn't have any feedback from my client before releasing it to my live environment. Because of the same reason that you can't understand your client, because of the same reason, any extensive research you do, but still there will be some points that will be missing from your end users. Because you can't understand them as a whole, it is advised you to launch your products early. Startup founders, if you are launching your product early, it will also help you financially because you will get a revenue stream. It will also cut down the competition because you have some loyal customers who are already using your product. And the most important part is you'll get the real feedback from the end users. I build a software, I'll call up some of my developer friends and ask them for a feedback. But that's not the real feedback that I would want it. The real feedback is from the end users who are paying their money and using the software. So if you are launching your products early, it will give you an extra edge above your competition. It will also make sure that you are building things that people would really like. So build minimum viable products, build mock-ups, build wireframes, or any other ways that you can think of, but you should go to your market really very early. So that was all from my sides. So let me recap once again about my talk because there are a lot of disturbance in between. And so the first thing is you should not be gold-plating your features. Always build what you are asked for. And if you are building something extra, make sure your client and your scope is on board. The next thing was you should be listening to your client's problems, not the client's solutions. The other thing was you should be, I got lost. Okay, you should always be looking for individuals that can add value to your team and not the people with the great resumes or so many skills. You should also be you should start dog feeding, right? You should start using your own products. The other thing was be honest. Never ship things that you see wrong to your clients. The other thing was anything that would prolong your project deadline or that would add unnecessary cost or there is a problem that is not worth solving, then you should be saying no politely. The other suggestion was also not to be Mr. Addition, who have 1,000 patents, right? So your duty is to provide the solution to the client. So never look for inventing each and every features that you have. The other major thing is you should always have a proper understanding about your client and end users. For that, you should have an extensive market research. You should have a proper scope and product features detailed out. Because of the very reason you can't understand everything about your end users, you should launch your products early. You should be building wireframes, you should be building mockups, and you should be taking the real feedbacks from the end users. Thank you all for being such an awesome crowd. And thank you organizers and sponsors for making this happen. And I hope I could bring in some aspects that you would really find helpful and start thinking about that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.